going to do is, if you encounter a flat on your MVs10, I will show you today how to change the rear tire tube. First we start with taking off the cover. It's 2 bolts. You take an Allen. Next, you'll want to loosen up your chain. Now I just did that 3, 4, 5. You want to keep them equal so it doesn't make your axle sit sideways in there and kick off your chain. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, maybe 7, 8, whatever you feel comfortable with. The more slack you give yourself here, the easier it would be to take off your chain and put it back on. $12mm, 14mm, moving your axle nut, grab that spacer, slide this forward, grab your spacer, let your chain fall. Lift up the rear of your unit. Your tire should be flat if you're replacing the tube. First you'll have to do, after you get it off of the bike, is take off the rear disc and the sprocket head. You will need to break the rotor bolts free. Next, after we get the rotor off, we'll take the sprocket off next, loosen them up. Be sure you keep track. The larger ones for your sprocket and the smaller ones for your rotor. Next, we'll need an 8mm and a 10mm. As it is threaded from one side, all you'll have to do is take the nuts off primarily. And then we'll take the bolts off after we take the nuts. Now that all 3 bolts are removed, pull apart. The tube is in there. That's what we're going to have to remove and replace. First, what I like to do is just to grab the stem. Pull out. Just run your hand in there. Sometimes you might feel a nail or a screw just kind of in there and it punctured your tube. I'm going to go around at least twice, get a point of reference and watch it all the way around. If you got a new tube, start opposite of the stem. And what you want to do is just feed it in there and go all the way around. See how I put a little bit of air in here? And now nothing's sticking in where we're going to have the hole. And we've gotten a lot of reports with people saying it's easier to put air in the tire if it was on the rotor side. So what we're going to do in this instance is we're going to put the stem facing the rotor side. Now take notice, the smaller screws went with the rotor. And if you look at yours, this is the one with the rotor. So this is your sprocket side. We want to line that up. Push in there as far as you can. Then after that, find the cutaway. And line that up. What we're going to want to do first is put your sleeve in. Center it up on your bearing down there. Find your cutaway. Then push it together. Just like before, I like hand starting things in other videos. Just a couple of threads just to be sure that they're started. They're not cross-threaded or not going to be tough going in and mess any of the threads up. Again, starting on just a couple of threads. Be sure they're started, not crossed. Before we put the rotor and sprocket on, we're going to go ahead and air it up, as the manual says, 10 to 15 psi. There it is. Put this on there. Our stem is going to be right there, easily accessible. I'm going to apply a little bit of blue Loctite. On these ones, on the final torque, if you have a torque wrench handy, just 2 or 3 pounds will work, not a lot, because they're not a very big bolt. Next, we're going to place our sprocket on there. Put a dab, blue Loctite. Now we're ready to go back on the machine. Got our tire and wheel, put it back together. Rotor, this side. We're going to place this in here. Now we took note on which side our spacers were on. Take our chain back on. We still have a little bit of thread sticking out. Go ahead and stick this, the spacer, back on there. We'll use our chain adjuster next. Put your washer on. Nut. We did 5 turns before. Now we're going to screw it back down clockwise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Check it out. We'll go 2 more. There we go. That's our correct half-inch of plate we want. We'll go ahead. We'll seat the axle back down. So everything's adjusted properly. Last step, put our chain guard back on. That's how you change a tube on your MVs10.